So instead of, I support this, but instead of fighting nuclear wars, abolition nuclear, we better fight to abolish the whole authority thing.
Authority is part of it, I must admit, but we need to make them more
They
aware.
created those weapons of mass and everything.
Yes, they have.
If we don't have authority like government, we won't have any like capitalist system, because we people gonna really equalize everything, communize everything. If there is no government to protect the oppression, the oppressive 1%, then we the people can easily, equalize and communize everything. And then in that kind of global commune, we're not gonna have any violence or anything, because everything will be in a perfect harmony.
I wish that we were basically all good humans and nurturing,
We are.
but sometimes people get greedy, people are manipulative and very
That's
calculative.
just we
about
call
what
it.
they do.
That's the 1% and the
Not
hierarchy.
Not necessarily.
It's how they raise us.
That too, but then again, somewhere along this world where we're modern, we still have barbarisms that can overcome us, and
What
it's
do you
easily
mean?
said, but not.
What do you mean? You mean if you don't have any government, any 1%, the barbarism is gonna overcome us?
I don't know, but there are people out there.
I know
There are
that.
people that we have to fight out there. I cannot deny that. Maybe we think that we're so modernized that it doesn't happen, but it does,
Why?
unfortunately.
Where is this barbarity coming?
Like the Taliban area, right around those countries,
Yeah.
they don't have so much as government to run them. They're really on the
They have
outskirts of
authority
society.
though.
They have their own authority, and
See?
that's very barbaric in some
Yeah.
situations. For their world, it's okay.
But they never drop nuclear bombs
No,
on any
they
city
don't drop nuclear bombs.
because they don't have it.
They don't have it for one, and yes, they could coordinate with other people and do something like that, because India has that. I'm not sure if Pakistan has nuclear power, but somehow along the way, it would be a possibility.
You mean if we communize whole world, and you still think we won't have any country like this, because everybody will be part of the whole global commune.
We are a world community. If we focus on more diplomacy, more nurturing,
No
more
diplomacy. Diplomacy is only supporting the corrupt governments. No governments.
diplomacy can support that. Diplomacy can also support the other end.
No,
It's what
who's
we
gonna be
choose.
diplomat? I come from diplomatic career, please. I'm not buying this anything about diplomat or diplomacy.
I believe that there could be an opening. I know it's not easy. You have a lot of faces, and it's not easy to say the truth. But let's see. Some people are more creative than others in order to have that diplomacy switch done in a proper manner that we feel.
I really think that if you allow anything diplomatic, that means you're allowing corruption. Diplomacy means total corruption and secrecy.
No.
Yes, it is.
I think the way they work, yes. But my perception of it since I was a child, no. I have higher standards for it. But one thing about idealism and realism, it might not coordinate. And maybe if we choose, which is a longer fight, is to fight for the higher understanding of
Well, I fight I fight the authority, and that means I'm fighting the diplomacy too, because it's part of the authority.
If you so believe to be. But then again, diplomacy on part of like Gandhi, religious people or people with higher standards of what they want that word to in content mean is a different world. It's what you want it to be.
You like Gandhi?
I like Gandhi, yeah.
I think there is a misunderstanding about Gandhi. Gandhi,
I'm
people
not
like
for
Gandhi because they say he fought against the British imperialism and invasion, and second, he did it non-violently. But he fought to create a state, and state doesn't matter how you create it. State is totally like here and there, doesn't matter. All states are violent and corruption and oppression. So actually whatever he did is ultimately a creation of a state, a national state, like a modern state, and totally against my understanding, because I understand that we have to communalize the humanity and get rid of whole governments, powers, authorities, state, diplomacy, whatever you name it.
The main thing of anything is content. We have nuclear energy, whether you use to heat it in nuclear medicine or whether you use to heat it, not heal, but damage and destroy through weaponry. Your choice, your decision. One body, either you use money to help people or you use it to corrupt and manipulate the whole process for selfish deals upon yourself. And so with my relative, who is a retired banker, he did one side. He always helped the people too, as far as I know. And I would love to go on to that path myself. So no matter what we say, there's going to be an example that is much better. Not a state of corruption. Let's say from like Gandhi situation versus maybe Hawaii. Hawaii is not totally uncorrupt, but it is fairly, it works well for me living there, you see. New York is half and half, you know. It has to work by greasing the hands to get certain things done, and a little bit of the other parts. And that's life for most metropolitan.
We have to change the life.
Yeah.
We can't accept the life as it is because it's so corrupt.
Yeah, so you change the percentage more heavily, less heavily on the corruption side.
That's a good start.
I mean,
that's why we are here. Yes, I agree.
You and me. I mean, we got some bad points, we got some good points.
Yeah, that's true.
Mirror of what's bigger happening out there.
Bigger happening is actually the global consciousness, but it's like so. It's like something like soul of the dead person. Yeah, it's there maybe, but we have to bring it back, right? And we need tools to do that. When you sit around the table, calling this souls, what do you call it? It's like a session of
having meetings.
Yeah, mediating. No, people come together and they try to connect with the dead person's spirit, right? Spirit calling, tapping the table.
Oh, that.
What do you call that?
What do you call that?
I think it's like spirit calling. Hey guys, what do you call that? Anyways, it's like this. You need a tool, like they use something like
An Ouija board.
something, right? Some tool.
Yeah, some tools.
So we
Cards,
need, yeah,
all kinds of
sometimes
stuff.
many different. I don't know because I've never been there, but I think they use some kind of symbolic tools, ways to connect to the spirit and calling the spirit. So it's like this. So the whole global consciousness is like this, and we have to call it back and realize it, and we need tool. And I think it's a concept like fighting the corruption, fighting the authority, and it has to be a means of transparency. What do you think?
I don't like to make it so difficult that everybody has a means of opening themselves to knowledge, having experience not the same as everybody, and digging within. If they truly want to learn something, that it will start coming up from within, and things around you will start, you will attract what you need as solutions, or to understand the problems even more, and then you connect the dots, and hopefully you have courage and the ability to articulate it very well. And sometimes not just one person should bear the burden, but we are components of this solution, we are components of this problem. And so if the change you want to see is the change you do, if you don't do, simply you're not going to see. So dig down within for your solution. Everybody has a different perspective, and what's working in New York may not work in California or even Indonesia, and therefore you need to pick your solutions in accordance to the situation and your culture and your abilities to do. There's so many components, but there's going to be failure, but you have to constructively look at it and keep plodding along with determination. You look at other examples around the world and see what motivates them into turning why it's working in their system. Like for this nuclear energy, how can Germany just say, no, we don't want nuclear anymore? It's so easy for them. Why is their alternative technology a lot more cheaper? You know? These are important questions that we should ask, or translating those understanding or of the problem, or looking at the problem, investigating it into any other situation.